What's up, everyone? It is championship week for the Eagles versus the 49ers. I'm the Godfrey, TheEegodfrey, and I got my man over here, Mean Gene. Tell him who you are.
Mean! Woo! Gene. Godfrey,
We got a lot going on.
Godfrey. I got something for you. Anybody listening into this show, if you aren't fired up about this Sunday's Eagles 49ers championship game, I got a surprise for Mr. Godfrey and the listeners out there. Mike, roll it.
God, seems like 1,000 years ago. I fought my way out of that cave. Became Iron Man. Realized I loved you. I know I said no more surprises, but I was really hoping to pull off one last one.
The world has changed. None of us can go back. All we can do is our best. And sometimes the best that we can do is to start over.
I saw all these people die. I keep telling everybody they should move on. Some do, but not us.
Even if there's a small chance, we owe this to everyone who's not in this room to try.
We will. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes.
I mean, I don't know how you can't be fired up after that. Look. I love the Marvel NFL theme. Those videos you send them to me, I will play them on air. I do not care. I am fired up. Is it Sunday yet? No, it's Friday. It's Football Friday. And we are here to discuss Eagles 49ers NFC Championship. But before we do that, I would be remiss if we didn't start by putting the nail in the graves, digging a coffin, and putting those Giants fans where they belong.
Oh, yeah.
Last week.
There's a...
Last week. Hold on, God, I'm almost done. I promise.
Go ahead.
Last week, I heard the Eagles aren't ready. Daniel Jones has more playoff wins than Jalen Hurts. I watched a buffoon, which we'll talk about later, put out a quarterbacks list and have Daniel Jones ahead of Jalen Hurts.
Wow.
The MVP of the league, Jalen Hurts. And don't get me started on the MVP talk because Jalen Hurts deserves to be the MVP. I don't care if Patrick Mahomes is going to win it. The most valuable player this year is Jalen Hurts. So I've watched buffoons talk about this time and time again, and I'm tired of it. Sick of it. I have confidence in this team, this coaching staff, this defense, this quarterback. But most importantly, I have confidence in those big dogs up front in that offensive line. Lane, Isaac, Kelsey, Mailata, and Dickerson. I'm ready to go, baby.
Let's go.
Ready to
I'm
go.
ready. I'm ready. Listen, I'm with you too. I heard all this crap. You know, I got caught. It's so funny, man. Like Giants fans were coming out of the woodwork, like a father that hasn't been around for his child's life for like 2 or 3 years. Like out of nowhere, he's popping up. Like, oh, hey, what's up? I'm here. I'm here now. I see you're making some money. You're in the playoffs. You're famous now. I'm like, where the fuck are these people coming from? Calling me on Saturday, talking about what do you think's gonna happen? I think it's gonna be a close game. I'm like, "You do?" I'm like, "You haven't even solved the puzzle of Boston Scott yet, and you're telling me it's gonna be close?" Like, I literally said that. I was hearing all these commentators out there, everybody saying how the Giants have arrived. But what I knew looking at the X's and O's, which we're gonna get in later about the game coming up, is that they didn't have the firepower to fight the Eagles. And I was at that game, ended up going. I knew it was over. I was texting Gene in the group when it was 14-0 because the Giants can't come back from that unless playing the Minnesota Vikings. You weren't going to be wide open with Isaiah Hodgins on the outside. Richie James was going to be controlling the game, over the middle. That wasn't going to happen. Not going to happen. And the defensive line got after him. All I heard was how Daniel Jones is going to run all over the Eagles. I'm like, are you kidding me? I had a Giants fan actually bring up to me the run where he got tackled by the turf monster. He wanted to bring it up as a reference to say that Daniel Jones can run. I was like, dude, he got tackled by air. Like, no one even touched him. Like, it was amazing to me, the false confidence. And maybe it was the Giants content creators and sportscasters up there were creating this false confidence, but they were definite underdogs and they deserved to be. And I was fully confident they were going to beat them because, listen, when you go roster for roster, pound for pound, they didn't have what it takes. Brian Dable did an excellent job. He did a job. He made a decent dish with discount groceries. That's what it was. The Eagles were bought at Whole Foods, and the Giants are bought at Aldi. Not there's anything wrong with Aldi, but I'm just saying that's the difference here in the
You know what the
quality.
10 for 10 banquets, Doc Godfrey? The 10
10
for
for
10 banquet dinners? Little banquet dinners, you get 10 of them for $1 a piece. That's the Giants roster. I get what you're saying.
banquet dinners. Oh yeah, man, I get heartburn just even thinking about that. Yeah, those are awful. I mean, listen, and I don't like the Giants. I have no love lost for them. It's a local rivalry for me, but the hype train was in full effect for that game, and we're gonna do our grades real quick. I could just say I had no dissatisfaction in the game. I like none. Like I feel like AAA this week, AAA's gradings. But we could do offense first. Jalen Hurts, defense. What do you want to go with?
Go Jalen Hurts. I'm going to give him an A. Just an A, not an A plus, just an A. I think Jalen Hurts was exactly what we needed him to be. I think he set the tone. This was the second play of the game. The 40-yard crossing route to Devontae Smith. Just letting you know he's ready. He's here. Set the
Yeah,
tone for the game. I think
beautiful.
that the first read option when he went in and didn't try to slide, just went in, spun off, got the extra yards, let you know, and then he scored the touchdown to make it 28, nothing, whatever it was. Um, Jalen Hurts was exactly what I wanted him to be. He showed me what I needed to see. He gets an A, not an A plus. A pluses are reserved for special.
Yeah, I had a stinking Giants fan sitting in my row. I was like, wow. They were leaving about halfway through the third quarter, and there was a lot of nah, 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 hey, hey, goodbye chants going on, and I was like, see you guys later. I didn't even say anything. Game talk for itself, and I feel the same way. I give him an A. He did what he needed to do. He looked like he was healthy, ready to play, shook some rust off, and I think at a certain point, the Eagles stopped showing a lot of different looks on offense because they had it well in hand and they knew it. And I just saw a healthy dose of Miles Sanders coming up, Boston Scott, Kenneth Gainwell. I mean, listen, the last play of the game, Kenneth Gainwell runs it in. And it's funny, I'm sitting with a guy next to me that I went with. He needed the game to go over 45 or no, over 42. And when that touchdown happened, he was going nuts. He was like, "Yeah!" It was meaningless, but their will was broken. They just Kenneth Gainwell just took it to the house, and guess what? They did what they were supposed to do. A lot of people thought it was going to be closer than it was supposed to be, but a lot of people weren't giving the Eagles credit for the defense they had. I mean, listen, Now they're fully healthy. They didn't have Avonte Maddox. They got Gardner Johnson. Hassan Reddick, we'll get into that. We'll do defense next if you like. He
Yes.
was a
I, I,
nightmare.
I
He was a
listen.
nightmare.
I start
Go ahead.
for defense. All right. I've been waiting for this one because it's not very often where I can tell you 100% the perfect defense to run against a team. And like, I'm not an NFL coach. I understand defenses, but I'm not an NFL coach. I am not tasked with a weekly game plan on how to beat a football team. But for this game, I was 100% sure of what the game plan should be. You run cover one the entire game, one deep safety, man to man across, and you control Saquon Barkley. And they did exactly that. Exactly that. They ran cover one the entire game. The Eagles absolutely dominated the line of scrimmage. The defensive line was in the backfield all night. Daniel Jones was hit multiple times. I loved what the Eagles did. And for the first time in a long time, I give Jonathan Gannon an A plus.
A+ here for me too. Um, listen, Hassan Reddick was a complete nightmare. He's had a great season, underrated season, hasn't been talked about a lot, I think. But he was a complete nightmare for them. And Daniel Jones wasn't getting off like people were saying he's going to. Uh, the pressure was unreal. And I agree, man. I watched it and I'm just looking at it and they had control of it. And to show you how well they started out, Brian Dable went in a complete panic mode going for it on 4th and 8. He saw they were getting hosed on defense. He wanted to make something happen. I don't really blame him for that because he kind of saw what was coming. He was being honest with himself. Kind of aggressive early on, but it backfired on him. But you know, that's how good the defense was. I mean, they really they had a chance to really score a touchdown, like another touchdown on the Richie James play where he dropped it, but it still wouldn't have been close, even if they got the 14 points. So um I give them A plus. I mean, they dominated that game. Dominated them.
Starts off with Nick.
Listen, I'm giving them an A plus too because I like the game plan. I mean, listen, they came out aggressive, and then as soon as they got up by a couple touchdowns, they started running the ball, beating the snot out of them, running. Sanders had about I think he had 90 yards. Gainwell got over 100. Boston Scott had a touchdown and about 40. Hit on that plus 390 bet. I did it at the game, by the way, $50, best $50 ever spent. And Boston Scott anytime touchdown. And I kind of like that they did that though, because I think they did that just to be like, yeah, here you go, take that. Just because he's been doing it. And they did what they were supposed to do on offense. He got Jalen outside of the pocket. He got him kind of running like he normally does. And I don't want to sound like this is a game where they should be getting ready for the next game, not overlooking them, but kind of getting them in the swing of things for what's to come next. And they handle business, man. And I like that he was out there saying, "This is what I do. I know what I'm doing." I kind of like a little bit of confidence. I'm warming up to that. A little bit of confidence in my coach. A little
Mike,
bit of
Mike,
emotion.
throw that last comment back. I'm so sick of this bullshit. I'll tell you something, Rob. Dallas Cowboys were the third ranked defense in the NFL. We played them twice. We put up 40 and 32. Your team put up 19 with 2 turnovers. I do not want to hear that bullshit. I'm tired of hearing the schedule. Tired of hearing who the Eagles played. We played who's in front of us. Jalen Hurts is 15-1 as a starter this year. You want to talk about the Eagles haven't played anybody? Okay. We could do that. Let's go combine records. I was prepared for it. The Philadelphia Eagles played a combined record. Hold on. Eagles versus 49ers.
Keep that same energy when we talk about the Niners, though, not playing anybody, though. Keep that same energy.
Oh, I have the stats. I'm just pulling it up.
Oh, I know
I
you. I'm
was
talking about
expecting to get the 49ers too early because this whole beaten drum of haven't played anybody, haven't played the elite defense, all that bullshit I've heard all year. combined.
Yeah.
So the Philadelphia Eagles play a combined records for everybody was 142 and 150 for the season. The 49ers combined records of all the teams that they played was 122 and 165 and 1.
Wow. They played a lot of trash cans then, huh?
So I don't want to hear that shit no more. It's bullshit.
Get a job,
It's
Grouch.
crap. You play the teams in front of you, and anybody that's still sitting here talking. This is definitely the toughest test for the Eagles. Pro Snow's comment up there. This is definitely a heavyweight brawl. I'm not saying that the Philadelphia Eagles are not going to have a tough test this year, but
Yeah,
I
'cause
don't. I'm tired of hearing the Eagles' schedule, and they haven't played anybody. You know what? We're going to play San Fran Sunday in Philadelphia, and you better believe after Sunday they'll make another excuse. Well, we haven't played a really good quarterback. It'll be something else. It's always something for the haters out there. Haters always have something. Here, I'll give Nick Sirianni an A+. They beat the Giants 38-7 in a playoff game. They beat a playoff team that won a playoff game 38-7. They're not good. But going into the game, all I heard was the Giants are hot and the Eagles are ripe for an upset and all this bullshit. The Eagles demolished them. Keep that same energy. I want that energy every single week from all those haters out there talking about the Eagles' record, their defense, their offense, Jalen Hurts. Keep the same energy. Because after Sunday, we'll have played two 13-win football teams.
and on top of that, um, the Vikings are they're not really that good. I mean, you got to see how bad they really are. How the Giants got exposed. Vikings defense, they might as well have just been eating sandwiches sitting in lawn chairs the other week when they played the Giants because they were like, it was like, are they even there? And the Eagles, their defense gets after it. They led the league. They lead the league in sacks. So here's the thing: it's one thing if you beat a team by 3, you struggle with a team that's not really that good, but they stomped them out and they stomped the mud hole and walked them dry. Austin 316, baby. So I'm just saying they stomped them out and they did it efficiently, quickly. There was no doubt in that game. It was from the door to the end. Not a single doubt in the whole game. Their will was stolen on the first touchdown drive.
Let's be
The
honest.
Giants were
Let's,
done.
let's be honest this week, Godfrey. There will be some doubt going into Sunday. There
Sure.
will be some doubt during this football game. The San Francisco 49ers are the best defense in football. They have DeMeco Ryans, who's the best defensive coordinator in football. They have weapons all across the board. Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Debo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. They have a very good offensive line. They have the best offensive coach in the NFL, Kyle Shanahan. This is not going
Yes.
to be a walk in the park, Eagles fans. This will not be you show up, you turn the TV on at 3 o'clock and expect to get the same thing you got last week. This 49er
No.
team hits. They're strong.
They got a good defense. Their path to winning though is going to have to be running the ball against the Eagles. They have weaknesses in their defense and have game examples, to bring up from the year recently in the season where Brock Purdy has played. I can go over that if you want me to real quick, Gene. Talk to you about Brock if we want to jump right into that.
You want to
Because
go to
he is
Brock up?
so some Brock highlights.
You want to go to highlights or you want to go to lowlights?
Let's go to lowlights. Yeah, let's show some Brock lowlights. Listen, he's had a phenomenal run. Don't want to take anything away from him. Me and Gene do another football show, and I said, listen, Kyle Shanahan puts his players in great positions to succeed. So I'm not surprised by it. I did say this several weeks ago. However, there's a limitation on what he can and can't do still. And, we'll show you some of his highlights. There's a reason why he's a 7th-round pick. He's not particularly fast, so he's not a running threat. He was a 4.84 into 40 at the combine. I'm surprised. When I looked up his combine stats, I'm surprised he even got an invite. I guess it's just because he's a quarterback. 4.840. It's 40-yard mile per hour, 16.9. And just to give you a comparison, right, of athleticism, um, 40-yard dash for Jalen Hurts was 4.59. Now you're saying it's 0.3 of a second. That's a long time in the NFL. That makes a big difference. 0.3 of a second. So
This is highlights. This is his highlight film.
no, play the other one that
That's fine. We
we,
can play this. I don't mind.
you want to play the highlights?
I don't
We're gonna
mind.
go with
Play
the
the
low one.
highlights. The 49ers fans, they're in the chat real excited. This is what you got to look. Listen, Brock Purdy, I got to give the man credit, man. You can throw that up there. We don't get muted, right? We can keep talking during it, Mike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
All right, so you can throw the highlights up. Throw the highlights up.
I found one that
Brock
says
Purdy.
lowlights, but I'll play the highlights.
you found the low light ones. That's funny.
It
No,
said
he found the
lowlights.
one.
Let's try this. Let's try it.
All right. So this is the Brock Purdy highlights, right?
No, this is the low light. I think.
Oh, that's a really bad turnover.
Yeah, TCU.
That's a really bad turnover. That's how I think they won that game versus TCU. We'll see what else we
They
got here.
did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they beat TCU. This is
Oh my
years
God! Look at. That's Jimmy G
okay.
esque. I've seen Jimmy G do some stuff like that.
Let's see, Oklahoma. This is a bowl game. No, it wasn't. This was during the regular season. What did he do there?
Woo!
Even I'm laughing.
Brock Purdy's ready,
Have
man.
fun.
Guy hasn't turned the ball over in the NFL. Kyle Shanahan's got him ready. But this is why he was Mr. Irrelevant. And don't get it twisted. When you got to play the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia, road playoff game in the cold. All right, well, hey, listen, let's see Clemson. Clemson's a pretty good team. Oh,
What the hell is that? That's a
batted ball,
Chris.
got intercepted, touchdown.
If Chris Berman was doing this, he'd
I've
be like,
seen 3
"Whoop whoop."
touchdowns. I've seen 3 touchdowns on this reel so far, and then none of them have been scored by Iowa State.
Was that him that tipped it up in the air too?
I don't think
Wow.
so.
I think it was. I think
Yeah, it was.
It was. He tipped it up. He
All right,
tipped it right to the guy.
Clemson again. They came all the way back. It was 20-3 at one point. Now it's 20-13. Let's see what happens. He did tip it. That's amazing. All right, we got more Clemson highlights. Let's see what Clemson does here. He's coming back. 20-13. 4th and 2. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I got more for you, but we won't go over that yet. We'll talk about the Iowa game in a minute. I sent Mike the
Oh,
video
yeah.
for the Iowa game. That video
Iowa
was
versus Iowa State game. I swear there was a bowl name for that. Like it's like Iowa versus Iowa State. I'm looking it up right now.
doesn't matter. Look, Brock Purdy's played great in his first season in the NFL as a rookie. He's a 3rd string quarterback. He's doing exactly what he is supposed to do as a quarterback in a system and with all that talent around him. He's not making turnovers. But the first time Brock Purdy has seen a top 5 defense. Louder? No. More hostile? Yes, Rob. Do you think the Eagle Stadium is louder than Seattle? No, the answer is no. More hostile? The answer is yes.
It's not far off though. If it's a playoff game, I mean, it's not louder, but it's not like
But see, the problem with Seattle is they built their stadium to make the stadium
amplified in the
loud,
crowd noise.
just like Kansas
Right.
City did. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean the stadium's louder. It just means it doesn't mean that it's a more hostile crowd. It just means that they like the Eagles have exits. When you have a bold stadium, the way Kansas City and Seattle is, it allows the decibel levels to get higher. I don't really think Rob understands that too much. That's okay. He's a 49er fan. We'll cut him a little slack.
Oh, is he? We got a Niner fan in here. I'm loving it.
Yo, Carlos Vasquez. I'm telling you right now, that kid responds great to coaching. But the first time he's seen a top 5 defense in the NFL was this past week versus the Dallas Cowboys. And I wouldn't 19 points after getting 2 huge turnovers from Rain Dakota. I don't necessarily think that's the greatest showing.
Yeah, let me reel
That's
off
just
those stats to you real quick. 23 out of 37 from Rain Dakota, 206, 1 TD, 2 INTs. Um, Now the funny thing is they were able to move the ball. CeeDee Lamb had 117 yards. Dalton Schultz had a touchdown. And as far as receivers go, it was going to be a close game, but Dak pretty much did them in. This wasn't a game that Brock Purdy took over. His stats: 19 to 29, 214 yards. Um, no one was over 100 yards rushing on that team. Kittle had the most receiving yards, 5 for 95, and nobody else was even close. Nobody else got over 50. So it's not like they had a statistical game where they were just killing them. In offense, it was you guys didn't turn the ball over. You took care of it. You played solid defense, and that was that. There was a couple balls that Purdy threw that were possible interceptions that just didn't get caught. So there were situations he was put into, and I can see by watching some of the college film now and some of his movement now in the pros. If you get the pressure on him, he could do something like that where he throws the ball up. I don't think he's going to tip the ball to himself. That would be awesome, but it wasn't a game where Brock Purdy won it for you, and that's not what he's been doing. But the thing is we'll get into this later. The way the Niners have to win, you know, the Eagles are a team they could face where they might be able to put the Niners in a position where Brock Purdy has to start doing more. And that's the difference, right? He hasn't played a lot of teams that have forced him to do that. And there's a game I got for you Niners fans that you'll remember that you won by the skin of your teeth. We'll bring up later, but continue on, Gene.
so. This brings up a great point. 2 years ago, or 2017, 2018, the Minnesota Vikings came down to Philadelphia and they dressed up the Rocky statue with Vikings apparel.
Never a
Eagles
good
won
look.
that game 38-7. This past week, the Giants went down there and put a Giants hat on the Rocky statue. And Mike, you might want to pull this up. Rocky, Brocky, Rocky. It's a picture. But this is what the Vikings did. This past week, the Giants did that, and they lost 38-7. This is now the third time a opposing team has brought Rocky into the equation when playing at Philadelphia. There's a
The Niners
headline
did?
and a picture. The 49ers have a picture, and it's called The Greatest Underdog Story in Real Life, Rocky. Like, the Giants putting the jersey on Rocky last week.
Oh, that was their problem. Is that a Kerry Collins jersey? That's where you messed up. You mushed it from the door.
But the last part is the Brocky part, and that's the part I want you to pull up, and it's a picture of Brock and essentially a old school picture, and it makes him look like he's on the head of Rocky. And greatest underdog story, Brocky. I'm gonna tell you something right now. Don't bring Rocky up in this Philadelphia. 49ers fans think this is gonna be a walk in the park. Debo Samuel said earlier in the week, he said, it's just another place. No, it's not. No, it's not. You've never played playoff football here in Philadelphia, Debo. Just because Seattle's loud does not mean it's hostile. Ask the players that have played here before. Ask the players that have played here before. I'm telling you right now, you better. And I love that he said it because it lets me know that they're not ready for what they're walking into. This is a hostile environment. And that crowd will be loud and ready Sunday. So, if you can't find that picture, that's okay.
I found it. I sent it to him. Mike, I sent you the picture. He'll get it up for a second. Found the picture.
It's hilarious to me. You guys
It
keep
is
wanting to take
hilarious.
little shots. It ain't over till it's over. Rocky.
There we go.
Look, I appreciate the trash talk. Just keep that same energy. I want y'all to keep that same energy after Sunday. Next on the docket. You can run the highlights of Brock Purdy because I want to break down what this kid does well.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Brock Purdy's going to have to do something that hasn't been done in NFL history. And I don't know, people have talked about it somewhat. he would be the first rookie quarterback in history to take his team to the NFL to the Super Bowl. And so break it down, Gene. We'll talk about that later. Is it here? Oh, nice little throw.
Very good touch. He has very good touch on the pass.
Oh, look. LSU.
That's a good
Okay.
touch. Throw it over the
Good
linebacker's
touch.
head. It's a great touch. Here's the Cheez It Bowl. Good touch. Thrown over a cornerback, Clemson. Very good. Very good pass. He when he can read a defense, and you notice a lot of these throws are, and that's clean. He can step into that throw, wide open receiver.
My
But
grandma could have
hey,
made that.
listen, no, but he
Good
dodged.
read.
Dodged. Let's see this one. Roll out, throw to the corner. Good throw. This kid has been good. Don't get it twisted, man. This kid has been good. He's made the plays that he needs to play. Let's see red zone, a little red zone action. Roll out to the right. Pressure. Corner in the end zone touchdown.
Yeah. Carlos, he's gone beyond my expectations too. Me and Gene definitely had our doubts last year, and we probably both would tell you if we rewind the clock back a year, we wouldn't be saying Eagles NFC Championship game. They're going to at least be there. We were hoping for a one playoff win, and so he's exceeded our expectations as well. I mean, I was a naysayer because I needed to see it more, and he has grown exponentially, and he has proven me wrong, and I'm loving it as an Eagles fan. Is that Brees Hall?
Yeah, I will say this. If you notice, they're almost all rollouts are clean pockets.
Right.
Almost every one of them. Rolls out right, and he's got a clean pocket for majority of his throws. Let's see this one. And then we'll turn it off. Stepped up. Good throw. All right, we can turn this one off.
There's some things
Now,
I
let
saw
me
him
show
do
you.
last week, though. Go
Let me
ahead.
show
Sorry.
you where he struggles. Let me show you where he struggles. Mike, throw the Iowa State video up, please. That's the one that here we go. So this is Iowa versus Iowa State. Throws a deep ball down the middle. It's intercepted. It's underthrown. He lacks arm strength. He does not have elite arm strength. Let's see this one. Red zone. This is Purdy handing it off. Touchdown. Oh, that's Iowa scoring touchdown. I
That's Iowa.
apologize. Iowa State's in. This is the highlights of the game.
By the way, it's called the
All right.
Cyhawk Trophy, the Cyhawk Bowl. That found out the name for it, just in case you guys wanted to know.
Iowa scoring again, 14-3. All right, let's see how he comes from behind because hopefully the Philadelphia Eagles get ahead of him this week. So it's 14-3 at this point. Here's Purdy. Here you go. Handoff, touchdown. That's Brees Hall, by the way, NFL running back.
His 40 is 4.84, not that quick. Carlos.
Yeah, well, Carlos is the man, bro. All right, here we go. 14-10, handoff. Okay. Fumble. Oh, it was a bad fumble.
Oof.
21-10. Down 11 points again. This game, he got benched. We'll talk about that obviously after this. But this game is the game he got benched. Down 24-10 now in the third quarter. Tip ball interception. If you were wondering why he was Mr. Irrelevant, all you got to do is watch this tape. All you have to do is watch this tape. You were wondering why he was Mr. Irrelevant. All you have to do is watch this tape. He got benched that game, and I think he was contemplating not playing football anymore.
Yeah.
Now I will give the kid credit. He takes well to coaching. He takes very well to coaching, and it shows. Because he's done a phenomenal job in that Kyle Shanahan system.
Yeah, and they probably scouted his ability to roll out. Kyle Shanahan is a motion-heavy offense. As a defense, that's something you have to account for, and that's definitely going to be a challenge for the Eagles. Offensive line is very good. very athletic. But things that I saw in the Cowboys game, he had some flutters out there. And I'm going to tell you, he throws those flutters against the Eagles. They are catching those. That is, you're not going to get away with that. That's where the arm strength comes in. He's not like a Mahomes that could just throw a missile, on the run off his back foot. He does not have that ability. Now he's coachable, but there's ability and then there's being coachable. The abilities, his raw skills and his raw skills doesn't, if you get him off his spot, you get him uncomfortable. It's going to be difficult. And that wasn't a clean game for him really last week. If you're just looking at this box score, you're not really getting a true representation of how he looked. You have had to have watched that game. The Cowboys gave them work on defense. I mean, Dak just didn't put him in a good position, and that's just the truth of the matter. But when you look at the game, he had some questionable throws, and they went off the hands. So I mean, I predict he's going to throw an interception this game. It's 1.5 interceptions is minus 130 on DraftKings. If you guys are interested in the prop, but um, yeah, it's going to be something where and I got to say, the Eagles corners are going to be ready for it. I mean, they got Avonte Maddox back, so Jawan Jennings catching those 2 passes out of the slot, that ain't happen. Might get one, may not. He's back
But
fully
I
healthy.
think
Eagles
I think the part that a lot of us are missing is that means Chauncey Gardner-Johnson
safety.
is going to be back in the safety position, which means he will
Mhm.
probably be manned up against George Kittle, where instead of having Reed Blankenship, you'll have Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, which is a huge difference as far as who is guarding who. Vontae Maddox being in the slot changes a lot of things. It puts CJ back in the safety role, in which he'll most likely be guarding George Kittle. Now, if you don't remember, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a former nickel cornerback, so he has experience in guarding the middle of the field. I think that he'll be a great matchup for George Kittle. He's also one of the best trash talkers in football. So I am imagine some of that trash talk will come through. But
Also tied for the league interceptions at 6 this year. Justin Simmons, Minka Fitzpatrick, CJG, and Tariq Woolen 6 interceptions apiece. And he was injured for about 4 games. I believe it was 4 or 5 games, right? So he was having a stellar year. Him being back, getting the game under his belt is key. Him being back. Him being back at safety, and he's a physical player too. He's not like some of the cornerbacks where it's you're not really afraid of them hitting. You're gonna slide right off that tackle. That's not him. See, CJG is gonna mix it up.
although I will say this, he got ran over by Saquon Barkley in the one
He did.
highlight Giants had that game. Last but not least, before we get into as far as breakdowns, before we get into some other stuff, the Philadelphia Eagles had one thing that really bothered me this past week, and I hope it corrects itself. It had nothing to do with the game plan, and I almost used him as my "you got to be kidding me" Wednesday night. When you're winning a football game 38-7, I never, ever in a million years want to see you sulking on the bench. I don't care how many balls were thrown your way. I don't care what the situation is. The Philadelphia Eagles were running the ball all over the New York Giants, and A.J. Brown was sulking because he didn't get the ball enough. He said, "I'm not a diva, but I want the ball." When asked about why he was sulking on the bench. Now, I think the Eagles obviously mix it up with A.J. Brown and get him in the game plan and get him involved early versus San Fran, but that to me is not a great sign of a good teammate. So I want to
He
put
said
that
he was
out there.
bad on a hip thing though, or you think that's BS?
No, it's not what he said. It's not. When he asked about him sulking on the sideline, he said, "I, you know, I'm not a diva, but I want the ball. I want to be involved, and I want to be involved early and often." Is what he said when he was asked about it.
No, I agree with you, but I'm saying they tried to say later on that he was also dealing with a hip issue. Do you
Of
think
course,
that was just to
they're
kinda cover his
selling stuff,
ass?
bro. They're
Yeah.
selling stuff.
Yeah.
So I
I
think the
agree.
biggest match of this game is the Eagles' defensive line or their front six versus the San Francisco 49ers offensive line. Now, Trent Williams is the best left tackle in football. Don't get it twisted. I line Hassan Reddick up on the right side the side Brock Purdy likes to roll out to, and I line him up there all day. And I run a plethora of different defensive ends at Trent Williams, and I try to get a lot of pressure up the middle. Kaiser White will be tasked with the tough task of sticking Christian McCaffrey. That's what he'll have to do. He'll obviously have a little safety help with Marcus Epps. Marcus will be taking over deep play situation and also be the secondary for Christian McCaffrey's passing routes. James Bradbury will be lined up against Deebo Samuel. Yes, I said it right. James Bradbury will be lined up against Deebo Samuel. They tend to put the more physical cornerback, which is Bradbury, up against the more physical wide receiver. And Darius Slay will be shadowing Brandon Ayuk, the faster wide receiver who Slay normally follows around the field. I think the Eagles defense matches up very well against San Francisco. You have to make sure they do not run the football, and that front six has to get pressure on Brock Purdy without blitzing. You have to be able to keep that single high safety as the 49ers scheme players open often, and you do not want to allow the big play, the X play. As for the Philadelphia Eagles offense, listen, the 49ers are only susceptible to one thing. Now, the Eagles run the ball with anybody. They're going to try to run the football versus San Fran. San Fran is number one in the league at stopping the run. Don't get it twisted. This game will be won and lost on the arm of Jalen Hurts throwing the football. The 49ers are 20th in the league against X plays, which is deep passes to the wide receiver. That's where you can break them down. You read off CeeDee Lamb's stats earlier. What were they? 5 for 115? Godfrey?
7. So I have it sitting right here still. It
7 for 115.
was. He had about 110, CeeDee Lamb.
Okay,
Where does
DK
that
Metcalf at 140 the week prior. Number one wide receivers that catch the deep ball, a la A.J. Brown. Have big games versus San Fran. If their pressure cannot get home with Nick Bosa and company, and Jalen Hurts has time in that pocket, you will beat them with X plays. Yeah. San Fran does not want to allow you to nickel and dime them down the field.
Yeah, I got something for you, Gene. Did a little analysis this week, so
little analysis.
49. Yeah, the 49ers are a very good defense. What they do surprisingly more than you would think, they run blitz more than they blitz on the pass, and Nick Bosa enables them to do this, right? He is the stir that, he's the straw that stirs the drink for them. So if they're able to keep Nick Bosa at bay, their outside corners are very susceptible. They've been beat all year long. And I want to bring up a game, though, that really illustrates this for me. And it's the 49ers versus the Raiders, okay? Now, I've always liked the 49ers, actually. I admire their defense, their coaching. I like watching their team, outside of being an Eagles fan. And, it was a high-scoring game, 37-34. Now, you would think, at first glance, maybe Derek Carr played that game. No, that was Jarrett Stidham. Went for 365 yards and 3 touchdowns. Devontae Adams ate their lunch for 7 catches, 153 yards. Darren Waller even got off. He hasn't gotten off for 2 years. 3 catches, 72, a touchdown. They didn't run on him a lot. 17 carries, 70 yards, touchdown for Josh Jacobs, right? Now, the telling thing here is the 4 losses for the 49ers this year have come against mobile quarterbacks, okay? And I'm going to list them for you real quick. But Jarrett Stidham, not really known as a mobile quarterback, but he was getting first downs with his 7 carries for 34 yards. I dare say that Jalen Hurts has the ability to double that. I put myself on a limb and say Jarrett Stidham is light years away from what Jalen Hurts is. So we can all probably agree on that. Now, when you look at these guys with mobile quarterbacks and what has been a problem, and this is from NinersNation.com. So this is from your backyard. Here's a look at, so Fields, Russell Wilson, Mariota, Chicago, they lost to him. It was a messy weather game. I get it. Is that a one-off? Right. Mariota, that problem with Falcons, another mobile quarterback. Um, so that's been Niners fans. I've heard them talk about this all year long about they had problems with mobile quarterbacks and being overly aggressive. The Falcons' rushing attack thrived that day, right? And Falcons are a pretty one-dimensional team. Now, are you guys a better team now than you were earlier in the season and rounded out? Probably, right? But there's a lot of things at play here. I think the only path for this team to win, the Niners, is through the run game. The Eagles get up early. It's going to be hard sledding for you guys. Now, Eli Mitchell has a practice all week. McCaffrey's been limited. Pretty sure he's still going to play. Um, so Debo Samuel gets some more action. All that's going to happen. But the Eagles, I could just see it right now with the run blitzing that they do, and they do often. That's pretty unique about the D'Amico Ryans defense. Okay, soon to be the Texans head coach, and I could just see AJ Brown getting behind that blitz and him taking a slant to the house. Okay, I can see them going on the outside with Devontae Smith, even AJ Brown. Their corners have been getting toasted. They get toasted all the time. Now, the reason why I'm bringing it up is you can score points on the Niners. It's definitely possible. When I watched that Cowboys game last week, the Niners won. They played a tough game. Cowboys did them a couple favors. Turnover in the red zone's a killer in the playoffs. Okay. And, that one that happened with Dak kind of sealed that game earlier on than, as the game played out. But when I look at how these teams are constructed, if the Eagles are able to keep Bosa and slow him down, because you're not going to keep a Nick Bosa at bay. He's amazing. He's a game changer. Nick Bosa is one of the, if not the best defensive end in football, top two, whatever. Great player, defensive player of the year, all that. Give him his due, give him his kudos. The Niners have a great team, great coach. But I've seen this story with Kyle Shanahan before. He gets there, and it just doesn't get it done just over the hump. And it's because I don't think Brock Purdy is going to become the first quarterback in history to take the Niners to the Super Bowl based off these X's and O's reasons. Okay? You got to travel across the country. You're already at a disadvantage there, right? You lose a travel day. Your team's banged up, and this guy has to come in, beat the team with the most wins in the football league, in NFL, in Philadelphia, and probably one of the most hostile environments he's ever played. And when I look at Brock Purdy, as great a story as he is, and I go down this schedule, he hasn't really the best team he's really faced as far as a pass rush has been the Cowboys. You got Seahawks, Raiders, Cardinals, Commanders. Okay, pass rush. Seahawks again, Dolphins, Buccaneers. And the Dolphins game is when Brock Purdy started playing the game. So I mean, has he really been tested by a defense that's fully healthy? Now, if Gardner Johnson wasn't playing and Maddox was hurt, I would probably have a little bit different of a tune. And Lane Johnson was hurt. I think the Eagles are going to win. I think it's going to be a heavyweight championship fight. But I got to tell you, the only way for the Niners to win is if they could run the ball on the Eagles and keep the Eagles offense off that field. That's just my opinion. I don't think that defense, if you can slow down Nick Bosa, remember I say slow down because he led the league in QB pressures. I think the Eagles offense is going to get off on these guys on the outside with the receivers. I just see it. They're not going to run on them, but they're going to pass on them. And that Raiders game is the best example I can give. That team had nothing. They really have nothing. Jarrett Stidham's going to throw for 300-plus yards. I'm watching that game. I'm like, what's going on here? Are they even showing up? That's where I'm at on the game, Gene. It's just one of those things where I think it's lining up for the Eagles. I wouldn't have told you this happened at the beginning of the season, but I mean, I think the Eagles can win this game. I don't think they're going to win it like last week, but I think
It's
they're
time for
definitely going to win.
score predictions, brother. Give me your score
Yep.
prediction for the game before we get in the counterfeit green.
Okay, so I'm going to go. It might be a little bit higher scoring than people think, but I'm going to go for. I'm going to go 24-17 Eagles.
Okay. I think this game's going to be super close. I really believe that. It's a wild game to me. Philadelphia Eagles offensive line is where this game is won and lost. I believe the defense will limit Purdy and the 49ers offense. I truly believe that. I think the Eagles' offensive line not turning the football over is where this game's won and lost.
Yep.
So let's talk about it. Do you have faith in Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, Jason Kelsey, and Sayamala?
Yes.
That's if you can give Jalen Hurts time in that pocket. Philadelphia Eagles win this football game. I think it's going to be very close. Nail biter. 23-20. Eagles win. And we head to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The
That's a
counterfeit
good score
green,
too.
boys.
That's a
Counterfeit
good
green.
score. My difference is I have a little bit of a further spread is because I see a Brock Purdy turnover resulting into some points. That's where I'm at on that. But I 23-28 out of no question. Counterfeit
So
green time.
you have the same counterfeit green, right?
A little bit
For the
different.
first
You go
time in a
first,
while.
and yeah, you go first.
My counter, listen. Godfrey's going to give you the whole land, the whole scheme of it. I'm just going to go with one. Craig Carton, you are my counterfeit green this week. What you did 2 weeks ago when you had Daniel Jones ranked 4th as the remaining quarterbacks left in the playoffs. He had
How do you have any?
Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Hurts. I forget what 7 and 8 were, but that's irrelevant. He had Purdy 8. He had somebody 7 and Purdy 8, but I'm forgetting who I'm missing here. But that's irrelevant. That's what you did 2 weeks ago. This past week, you had the easiest job in the world. Monday, you walk in there, the Eagles wipe the floor with your Giants, and all you have to do is go Mahomes, Burrow, Hurts, Purdy in your quarterback rankings this week, and no one bats an eye. But you didn't do that. You didn't do that. You ranked your quarterbacks this week, and I love that you did this because Jalen Hurts is going to look at this bulletin board material and be thrilled. Craig Carton, you went Mahomes, Burrow, Purdy, Hurts, and when your own crew laughed at you and said, "Why? Why are you doing this?" You said, "Because Purdy has double the playoff wins to Jalen Hurts."
Oh, I can't even.
Hey, Jalen will remember that. Philly will remember that. Your Giants are sitting home after a 38-7 beat down at the hands of that Philadelphia Eagles team. That's all I gotta say. That's my counterfeit green.
Listen, my counterfeit green's similar. That guy he talks about. I'll leave. Carton, Canton, whatever his name is, Carton, right? Like um, his opinion should be on the back of a milk carton. Valid opinion missing. Call this number for a valid opinion because when you look at those rankings, even outside of talking about the Eagles, it's fraudulent. Like you can't have Daniel Jones in the top 5. Are you out of your mind? Like seriously, like that is ridiculous on so many levels to act like he's a quarterback and can carry his team. And my counterfeit green is a lot of these content creators and broadcasters that are out of New York that were fanning the flames, making these homer troll takes. You were exposed. I bookmarked every single one. I said, I'll be back. I'll be back on Sunday, maybe Saturday night, depending on how it goes. I'll be back. And I commented back. I was gonna stitch him, but I was like, you know what? Moving on to the next game because the thing is you could be a home team podcast like we are and have some honest takes. Listen, I say it all the time. We weren't on the Jalen Hurts bandwagon last year. Some people were, but we were not. And we gave you an honest take. But the counterfeit green part is: are you trying to give honest take and pure analysis? Or are you just doing it for the views, right? And that's what some of these guys are out here doing. For him to say what I heard him say is the Eagles played trash can teams all year. And the Giants are coming in hot when they were 3-5-1-8 coming into the end of the season. Are you kidding me? 3-5-1-8 coming into the end of the season. They lost the last game against the Eagles, and they beat a team that everybody beat that was historically bad on defense with a negative point differential that's never been done before. And they're thinking the Eagles are the same thing. You're getting hyped up about Daniel Jones, Giants fans. I realize it's been a while for you. By the way, Gene, did you see this on TV or not? Did you see when they were showing Eli Manning on TV?
Yes.
It was great. Eli Manning, because his middle finger comments, they booed him, then they were showing Eagle. And listen, man, I enjoy the rivalry, but listen, if you're a content creator and you're just giving a take just to give a take to get views, you're counterfeit green, man. Like that's BS.
Agreed.
Like you can't be a real now. Like I've had some bad takes. Don't get me wrong. No one's perfect, but that's awfully horrible. Daniel Jones in the top 5. Take Jalen Hurts out of it. He's still not in the top 5. Jalen Hurts could have never existed. Brock Purdy in the top. I can't even do it anymore. That's my counterfeit green, and you got dunked on. So take it deep.
We're wrapping up for Birds Deep this week, but my question for you is, Mike, I know you probably didn't see the video I sent you because you've been too busy running the ones and twos and kicking ass. But is there any way you can exit us with that video I sent you? Is it possible? If it's not, it's okay.
The hype video. Yeah, baby.
Here's what's funny. I had that queued up to go. I was going to surprise you with that one. I was already
I
ready
love
with
it.
it. But we could do it.
So we think the Eagles are going to win, and this is how we're going to leave the show. So thank you for tuning in this week. That is D. Godfrey. I am Gene Walzak, and you need to take it birds deep after watching this video. Love y'all.
I'm starving for this.
Nightmares. We don't need no rah-rah speech.
Don't need no rah-rah speech.
Cause it's a Philly thing.
It take everybody, man. Take everybody. We gonna ride together. We gonna put the show out. Let's go.